Shalom, holy initiates and holy adepts. I am the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon, and I will be your host, master, and teacher for this very divine esoteric teaching. Now, this video is an extremely advanced Kabbalistic video. It's probably one of my most, if not one of the most advanced and esoteric of all of my teachings on my channel. I'm sure many of you are probably like, well, that's what you say for every single video. That's true, but this video is going to be part of a larger series of videos that all fall within the domain of Frankism, meaning that these videos are going to be the most advanced of all of my videos on my channel, because these videos are going to go very, very deep into the most divine and esoteric teachings of Mashiach Yaakov Frank. Okay, as if you know, my channel only has one series and a few videos dealing with Mashiach Yaakov Frank, and those videos were just meant to be introductions into Frankism. This video is not an introduction into Frankism, but a knee-deep, very, very deep series. It's going to be a very, very deep series, going very, very deep into some very esoteric, divine wisdom from Mashiach Yaakov Frank. So this video is solely intended for actual holy initiates and holy adepts. I don't want any stupid, ignorant Christians, spiritually blind Jews, or retarded goyim coming to this video or to this channel. This is very holy, profound stuff. You're only going to curse yourself and bring curses upon yourself for accessing that which is prohibited. Okay, so don't do that. If you do not merit and are not worthy of these holy, esoteric, divine teachings and these holy mysteries, it is best to just leave now, lest you become cursed, lest you are cursed. Okay. So again, this video is solely intended for holy initiates and holy adepts. The bulk of this entire teaching all falls under the umbrella of the Holy Goddess. Again, prerequisites for this teaching and this series really at large is that you are highly initiated. This is not this video is not just for those that are initiates and adepts, but really the highest of initiates and adepts who are highly initiated, because again, this is going to be an extremely advanced series, to say the least. So we're going behind closed doors here into the royal palaces of the grandmasters, I being one of the last grandmasters standing in this last generation. So without further ado, let's proceed. Now, as I said, this entire series all revolves around the divine matronita. So some preliminary fitting introductions are prerequisite. And I want to start going straight to the highest source, which is that of Mashiach Yaakov Frank, blessed be he. He states, in the words of Mashiach Yaakov Frank, it states in 124, all efforts of the ancestors were dedicated to this, that they might pursue the matronita, upon whom the whole of life depended and who gives protection from all evil. No weapon has any power over men because of her help, just as the patriarchs dug a well. And it goes on. Now, I feel I cannot have said this better myself. He reveals here the quintessence, the true quintessence of the highest archetypal theosophy of Israel, which has everything to do with the divine matronita, the holy goddess. All of our ancestors, that is namely the Israelites, our ancestors, the true Israelites, all of their efforts and all of their focus and work was dedicated to the holy divine matronita. Cannot be emphasized enough. This is an Israeli thing. This is what separates us, the holy chosen people and race, from all the rest of the goyim. Very, very momentous to understand. Really, I think only the grandmasters know and understand this. You see, because we have a very major problem in what I like to call modern Judaism. For thousands of years, the real true Israelites, like myself, the true Jews, have understood this, have understood and known the quintessence of the highest archetypal theosophy, have actually known the Holy Goddess. But in the past 1,500 years or so, we have what I like to call modern Judaism that has no understanding and no knowledge and wisdom of the Holy Goddess. And so what we have essentially is a bunch of stupid and ignorant Jews. The vast majority of religious Jews, listen to me, the vast majority of religious Jews are stupid, spiritually blind, and ignorant. A most lamentable affair that we have on our hands. We are speaking here of our true ancestors, the true Israelites that lived past the 1,500-year mark, before 1,500 years ago. Because there's only been a handful of true Jews and Israelites like myself that have existed in the past 1,500 years that truly know and understand what is being said here. Again, I cannot emphasize it. If you do not know this, if you do not understand this, then you should not be here. You should leave right now immediately. Well, you know what? It looks like I screwed up the citation for this part. So one of these citations is from 124, which one I don't know. Looks like I screwed up here, and so one of the citations here is missing. But the point is that I want to read to you another saying from Hamashiach Yaakov Frank. He states, "At first it will be from all peoples, then they will make Israelites the knights. They are chosen for that because no people pursues Matronita, who is Ayalath Ahobim, as do the Israelites, and in the end she will lead them. She is before Ha-Elohim, and this belongs to Ha-Elohim." Listen again very carefully what he says. There is no nation, no goy, and Haaretz that knows and pursues Matronita like the holy nation of Israel, because we are the only nation that truly knows her. He's known as Ayalath Ahobim. He's quoting from Proverbs chapter 5, where the holy goddess is mentioned in one of the verses as Ayalath Ahobim, which is Hebrew for the goddess of loves, or the loving goddess. And that's why the grandmasters, the true grandmasters of Israel, like myself, we are called knights. We are the true Knights Templars, because in essence, the Knights Templars, the ruling elite of the Knights Templars and its original founders were all Israeli grandmasters such as myself. This is a very great secret. It's not known by all of the stupid, ignorant goyim. They don't really know the essence of the Knights Templars that existed during the Middle Ages. They don't know what the Holy Grail is. Nobody knows what the Holy Grail is other than the true Knights Templars. All we have is a bunch of ignoramuses running around. A bunch of ignorant scholars and ignorant goyim that have no idea what the Holy Grail is and have no idea who the true Knights Templars are. We are the true Knights Templars. And Israel is the only holy nation that knows the Holy Goddess. I'm talking about the true Israelites here. I'm not talking about all those stupid, retarded Jewish religious people, all those stupid, retarded Orthodox Jews that you see who have no knowledge and no conception of the Holy Goddess, who have no knowledge of the Qabbalah, of the esoteric wisdom. For thousands of years, it was Am Yisrael, who truly knew and understood the Holy Goddess and was truly connected to the Holy Goddess. And so now in the past 1,500 years, we only have but a remnant, only but a true remnant of Israel that is operating at these levels, at these ancient levels that Israel once operated on, in their connection and knowledge and wisdom of the Holy Goddess. Again, I could not have said this better myself. This is the true quintessence of the highest archetypal theosophy. Extraordinarily momentous to understand. That's why we are the highest nation, the Goyim. Do you think that those stupid, ignorant Hindus and Buddhists, do you think that they know the Holy Goddess? They have no knowledge. They have no conception of the Holy Goddess. I know this for a fact. We are above them. We are more powerful than they are. All these stupid Goyim that want to become occultists, they want to go and study in the Eastern Mountains under these pseudo gurus. I call them pseudo gurus. Pseudo Hindu gurus and pseudo Buddhist gurus. They're all pseudo gurus with no power. Their power, their perceived power, is but an illusion because they don't know the Holy Goddess. They are powerless. They have no knowledge and no conception of the Holy Goddess. The Goyim, they don't know the Holy Goddess. They don't have no conception of the Holy Goddess. They are completely ignorant and devoid of power and the Holy Goddess. The Muslims, the Holy Goddess doesn't exist in their culture. Their religion has no knowledge and conception whatsoever of the Holy Goddess, even though their name for God, Allah, is feminine and has everything to do with the Holy Goddess, and yet every Muslim, every Arab is stupid and ignorant and has no knowledge of the Holy Goddess. Their religion has no power, meaningless, vanity. So that only leaves two nations, the nation of Esau and Yaakov, the Jews and the Christians. Now, unfortunately, the vast majority of Christians are also very ignorant. They don't know the Holy Goddess. But they have no excuse, because their knowledge and understanding of the Holy Goddess comes through Yeshua's mother Miriam, because she is a reincarnation of the Holy Goddess. She's an incarnation of the Holy Goddess. But yet there is a small remnant of Christians, known as Gnostics, that are highly initiated and do understand and know of the Holy Goddess. But this is a very small, exclusive remnant of the Christians. But the vast majority of Christians are also very clueless. And what I consider to be the highest denomination, which is the Catholics, they're the only denomination that comes closest to the knowledge and essence and connection to the Holy Goddess through their worship of Yeshua's mother Miriam. But every other denomination, stupid, clueless, vanity, meaningless. And then we have all the stupid, ignorant Jews who have no knowledge of the Qabbalah and do not know the Holy Goddess, which in my eyes, in the eyes of the true Grandmasters and the true Knights Templars of Israel, is an abomination. Listen to me very carefully. I myself, the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon, we cannot emphasize enough. We simply cannot emphasize enough what is being stated here. We cannot emphasize enough, we cannot state emphatically enough how momentous this understanding and knowledge is. We just can't. Words, there's no words that are able to express how momentous and critical what is being stated here is. Now, unless you're an extremely highly initiated Israelite, you're not going to be able to understand. You've had to reach high levels of initiation to be able to fully understand what is being stated here and the quintessence of the matter. Now, what will follow a little bit later in this teaching is we're going to go very deep into the esoteric levels of the Talmud, or the Talmudim really. Now, we have a lot of stupidity and a lot of ignorance by many Christians and Goyim. They like to teach that the Talmud is Babylonian, that it's evil because it's Babylonian. I mean, all this stupidity and all this nonsense about the Talmud. How many people have read the Talmud in its original Aramaic? Only the serious religious Orthodox Jews. Everyone else is just talking out of their ass and demonstrates their stupidity and their ignorance when they bash and when they hate on the Talmud. The Talmud is one of the highest and holiest texts, full of an immeasurable amount of knowledge and wisdom. Very similar to the Holy Word. It is one of my most favorite of all divine texts to read and to study, which I do on a daily basis. Now, the Talmud, like the Bible, is an encrypted, encoded text. And unless you are fluent in ancient Aramaic and Hebrew and have actually read the Talmud in its original language, you won't even have the slightest conception or even clue that the Talmud is an encrypted and encoded text. In fact, there are many religious Jews that do not fully understand the Talmud. What's really lamentable is that the vast majority of religious Jews don't even fully understand the Talmud, because every true Maccabel knows that the Talmud has many esoteric levels to it, just like the Holy Word. In order to fully comprehend and understand the Talmudim, you need a grandmaster or a master of Israel to teach you, to show you. Otherwise, you won't have the slightest clue, because it's an encrypted, encoded text. The one or two English translations of the Talmud that exist don't do justice to the underlying text of the Talmud, because they are just literal understandings and translations of the text, not ever reaching the most esoteric levels of the Talmud, which is the true essence of the Talmudim. So I want to reveal one perfect example of this. I'm going to focus now on a particular passage in Talmud Bavli, and I'm going to pull out the esoteric level from it, as well as indicate and demonstrate the ignorance of the modern religious Jews and their misinformed understanding of the esoteric levels within the Talmudim. Listen very carefully. We're going to begin in Talmud Bavli in Tractate Berachoth in folio 35b. And this is what it states. Rab Chanina Bar Papa said, anyone who derives benefit from this universe without a blessing, it is as if he stole from Elohim and the community of Israel, as it is stated in Proverbs chapter 28, verse 24. Whoever robs his father and his mother and says it is no transgression, he is the companion of the destroyer. The phrase, his father, refers to none other than Hakadosh Baruch Hu, as it is stated, is he not your father who created you, who made you and established you? Which is in Sefer Devarim in chapter 32, verse 6. The phrase his mother refers to none other than Knesset Yisrael, as it is stated, hear, my son, the discipline of your father, and do not forsake the Torah of thy mother, quoting Proverbs chapter 1, verse 8. Now, this goes back to the vast stupidity and ignorance of the Goyim and the Christians when they study these holy texts. When you read Proverbs, and I've discussed this in other videos, when you read Proverbs and you read about your father and your mother, do you think it's talking about your biological father and mother? Who do you think you're reading about when you read these divine texts? You see, the problem is just a vast stupidity and ignorance. Really, the quintessence of the matter is just the unspirituality. The problem is all these Christians, all these Goyim, they have no spirituality. One of the biggest problems in this last generation is we have all these people that they think they're spiritual. Nothing is more abominable than a person thinking they're spiritual when they in reality have no spirituality or understanding of spirituality whatsoever. And that's what we have in this last generation. We have all these stupid, retarded millennials. Really, it's the millennials, the millennial generation, that think that they're spiritual. Oh, we don't like religion. We hate religion. We're all about spirituality. I'm spiritual because I do yoga, because I studied the Buddhist monks. You don't know what the hell spirituality is, you stupid millennials, you stupid Goyim. The vast majority of people have no spirituality and have the slightest idea of what true spirituality is. Case in point, all the stupid Goyim and Christians who for the past 2,000 years have read these holy texts with no understanding. Listen to me carefully, with no understanding. You read these holy texts and you think you're reading about mortals? You think these texts are full with stories about mere mortals? You gotta be stupid and retarded. No, the Rabbanan here, the ancient sages here are telling you, you gotta be stupid if you think that these verses are referring to your biological parents. In reality, they're referring to your heavenly parents, to your heavenly father and to your heavenly mother. Oh, but the Christians love to say my heavenly father. They know the heavenly father so well. No, they don't. And they had the slightest conception. They have no knowledge of the Holy Mother whatsoever. As if it makes sense to have a father but no mother. You gotta be really stupid and retarded. But that's what Christianity is. It's full of a bunch of retards and stupid beings. Now he says here, the Father here, when the Father is spoken of in the Holy Word, its reference is to none other than Hakadosh Baruch Hu. And when the Mother is being referred to, it's in reference to Knesset Yisrael, the assembly of Yisrael. Now don't be stupid. Don't be stupid like the Christians. They read this. They would read this and they would say, "Ooh, well, are you trying to say that the mother, the woman, is the church?" No, you stupid Christians, it's the synagogue. Oh, you're saying that the mother is the synagogue, which we like to call the church. No, it went over your head. Another example of their stupidity and their ignorance. It went over their head. The assembly of Israel, which comes to include the nation of Israel, is a code word for her sons, the children, which come from the mother. Now, let me indicate even more stupidity and ignorance here. This commentary here, this translation of the Talmud here, is a modern Jewish translation of the text. And what you see that what is not in bold is extrapolated translation or text. Okay, so essentially it's commentary. Now let's see what the last line, the commentary by the modern Jews here to the translation, the last line it states, they say, the mention of the Torah as emanating from the mouth of the mother apparently means that your mother is the assembly of Israel, never explaining that this is a reference to the holy goddess, to the divine heavenly mother. They don't, the annotations and the elucidations to modern translations of the Talmud, they will not tell you this. More than likely because they're ridiculously ignorant, and these modern rabbinical Jews, these modern Jewish Rabbanan have no idea, are completely uninitiated. The text is going way over their head. Why do you think everywhere in the Zohar, everywhere in the esoteric Kabbalistic texts, Knesset Yisrael is explicitly a reference to Shekhinah, the holy goddess? But no, in the standard Talmudic commentaries and translations, no mention of this is made whatsoever. This is the most abominable and lamentable thing that I can even think of. I mean, I'm speechless. I'm speechless how so many modern Jews are uninitiated, stupid, spiritually blind, and just that effing ignorant. But that's the spiritual condition of the past 1,500 years. And the spiritual condition of this last generation is just beyond words. Words don't even do justice to how bad it is. Okay, I don't even want to get into it because it's just not a good idea to get into it, period. So let's move on. Now, what I just did there was to basically give you an example and demonstrate one of numerous countless examples of the esoteric levels hidden and encrypted within the Talmudim. So understand this, okay? If you've never read the Talmud, if you don't know about the Talmudim, you shouldn't be here. Please leave. Now I want to proceed back to the Lillith Qabbalah, because it needs to be understood that the vast majority of Shabbatanism and Frankism has its root and origins in the Lillith Qabbalah, meaning that you're not going to be able to fully understand and comprehend much of the highest, most advanced esoteric teachings in Frankism and Shabbatanism without mastering the Lillith Qabbalah. That's a fact. Okay, so I want to pull out a very esoteric teaching that is only found in the Lillith Qabbalah. Okay, and I'm going to go to one of Chaim Vital's 8 gates, and this is Sha'ar Pesukim, which is the gate of the verses. And this gate, which is one of the 8 gates of Chaim Vital, is split into 2 sections. And the second section is Sefer Likutim. And in Sefer Likutim, in the very first page, already in the very first page of Sefer Likutim, which is Parashat Bereshit Siman Aleph, and I have the original Hebrew up above, and then my superior lucid English translation at the bottom. And this is what Chaim Vital teaches. This is the proof in essence of why he was a grandmaster and why he was a chief disciple of Hamashiach Arizal. He states, in essence, the Qlippath comes before holiness in every matter. The parable of this is that the Qlippath of the stem is exceedingly beautiful, but its entire end is HaQlippath. Like it was said by Rashbi, and he's quoting Zohar, book 1, folio 19, this Qlippath, this is the Qlippath to that, and this is the nucleus to that. Now, this is one of the most profound, literally one of the most profound of esoteric teachings from the mouth of Hamashiach Arizal. It's one of the most profound teachings because this teaching reveals to us some of the most esoteric aspects of Parashat Bereshit and the quintessence of Eitz Chaim and Eitz Da'ath in Gan Eden. Because before the Arizal, nobody, there wasn't really any Jew or Israelite or occultist or magician that truly understood the most esoteric levels of Parashat Bereshit. Specifically, the relationship between Eitz Chaim and Eitz Da'ath. Nobody knew. Not until Hamashiach Arizal comes on the scene does he begin to reveal the most esoteric levels to Parashat Bereshit, the most esoteric relationships and levels and knowledge and wisdom of Eitz Chaim and Eitz Da'ath. And this is one of them. And it is literally one of the most profound. You have to be highly initiated to truly appreciate and understand the profundity of this very holy esoteric teaching. And again, this teaching is only found and can only be found in the most esoteric Lurianic texts, in this case of Likutim. Before the Arizal, there is no book that contained this very sacred knowledge and wisdom. Okay? So why am I revealing this? Because so that I can then give you the next revelation, and you'll be able to more fully appreciate the next revelation when you understand how its entire root, essence, and source is in these very esoteric Lurianic teachings that I've just revealed to you. And that is, again, we return back to Hamashiach Yaakov Frank. Now, he states in 78, he states, before the herb of life, there appears the herb of death. Yet death is not there. It was just that to people's eyes, it seems as though death were there. Now, where did he get this teaching from? That before the herb of life, there appears the herb of death. Well, again, it goes back to what's found in Sefer Likutim, the Lurianic Qabbalah. Hamashiach Arizal said, the Qlippath comes before holiness. The peel comes before the fruit. Know and understand this. The peel comes before the fruit. The Qlippath comes before holiness. This is what triggered Hamashiach Yaakov Frank to state that the herb of life comes before the herb of death. But he's so initiated that he goes even deeper into these holy teachings. You see, the Lurianic Qabbalah is already some of the most esoteric of divine knowledge and wisdom. Hamashiach Yaakov Frank goes even deeper than the Lurianic Qabbalah. He takes things even deeper and to even higher levels than what is in the Lurianic Qabbalah. So if you haven't even completed your Lurianic initiation, you're not even ready to begin Frankist or Shabbatane initiation. And this is also, he takes it even deeper. And this is also why he adds to this taking it to the highest level of understanding. He says in 741, before that matronita, there will be no fear. But before that thing which will come before her, there will be great fear. So, it is matronita that is the holy nucleus. And here he is speaking about the Qlippath that comes before the matronita. Do you think that just anyone can access matronita? That just anyone can see matronita and connect to matronita? There are levels here, and he's revealing the levels. And so that is what we have here. That is specifically who Hamashek Yaakov Frank is referring to the Qlippath of the Holy Goddess. There's many levels here. And he's speaking on the relationship between the nucleus and the Qlippath, or the Noga and the Qlippath. And where is this? Where are these higher levels of knowledge and wisdom coming from? Again, the ultimate root and source goes back to the principal texts. And this is why we read in Sefer Tikkunei HaZohar in folio 1098, it states, just as there is a holy Malchuth, so there is an evil Malchuth. Just like circumcision, so the foreskin. Again, the foreskin is the Qlippath. There is the uncircumcised Samael and his mate, or the uncircumcised female foreskin. The serpent, who really his mate is the serpent, or the woman of whoredoms. She is quintessentially Mystery Babylon. And this is why I'm the chief magician of Mystery Babylon. For those that have eyes to see, for those that truly know the concealed narrow path, as I do. So there are principally there are two divine goddesses. One is representative of the Noga, or the nucleus, and the other is the foreskin, or the Qlippath. She's the evil Malchuth. She is none other than Lilith. Lilith is who we are speaking of here, for those of you that are true initiates and adepts. She is the herb of death that comes before the true herb and elixir of eternal life, who is Eitz Chaim. What we're revealing here, what we are stating here and revealing here, is the highest knowledges and wisdoms. Now, I have done many videos. I've done many videos on the Holy Goddess and videos on Lilith. I forgot to mention at the beginning that a prerequisite for this series is that you have watched all of my videos that exclusively deal with the Holy Goddess, and especially those videos that I've done on Lilith. I have a 3-part series on Lilith, I believe. If you haven't seen that series, you shouldn't be here. And in one of my videos, I can't remember which one, but there's a video on the Holy Goddess, where I explicitly state that anyone who thinks that Queen Sheba is a woman, that she's a mortal woman, has to be really stupid and retarded. I had no problem stating that because those are the facts. Okay? This is how the elite Israelites talk and speak. If you can't handle it, then just leave. This isn't for you. Okay? This is not for the mentally and emotionally weak. And the sentiment that I was expressing is the same exact sentiment that the ancient Meccabulim grandmasters and sages have all expressed at one point or another in the holy convocations that are done behind closed doors. So again, I'm going to take you to another very esoteric level within the Talmud. So this is specifically Talmud Babli. Once again, I'm going to read to you the literal interpretation and level, and then I'm going to show you what's being concealed. I'm going to take you to another very esoteric level of the Talmud. And so we're dealing with encrypted and encoded holy divine text. Now, in Tractate Baba Batra in folio 15b, it states, Rab Shmuel Bar Nachmani says that Rab Yonatan said, anyone who says that the Queen of Sheba, or Malchat Sheba, who came to visit King Shlomo, was a woman, is nothing other than mistaken. So, what is the meaning of Malchat Sheba? The kingdom of Sheba, as is mentioned in Eob, and Sheba fell on them and took them away. Now, again, the text that is not in bold is extrapolated translation. Now, many Jews, they read this passage and it goes over their head. They have no understanding. Now, a lot of times, what you will find in the Talmudim is that a lot of these Rabbanan that are speaking are actually highly initiated Meccabulim. And they're speaking in parables, and they're speaking utilizing encoded and encrypted language. So that any outsider who is reading this holy divine text is not going to understand. Just like we have all these outsiders, all these Goyim and all these Christians that read the Bible, they're outsiders. They don't know Hebrew. They don't know Aramaic. They don't have real Israelite Hebrew teachers teaching them the Bible. They're outsiders. They are outsiders trying to understand an insider text. This is inside information that I'm revealing to you. If you're not an insider, you're not going to have any knowledge whatsoever of these holy divine texts were given were explained and taught to a few hand-chosen Israelite men thousands of years ago. And there have always been the teachers that carry on the esoteric and exoteric tradition and teachings. If you're not part of our people, if you're not part of this group, then you're an outsider, and there's no way in hell you're going to fully understand these holy divine texts whatsoever. The Rabbanan, just like Yeshua, have the same peculiar method of operation. We speak in such a way that the outsiders are not going to understand. So all these Jews that are uninitiated, that are reading these holy divine texts, they don't understand what they're reading. They can't fully understand the conversations that are going on between these highly ancient initiated Meccabulim and Chachamim. They're just not. They're not going to. They're outsiders. Even though they're Jewish, they're outsiders because, the only way you can be an insider as a Jew is to be initiated by a Jewish master or grandmaster. That's the only way. But we're lacking. For 1,500 years, we've been lacking tons of Jewish masters and grandmasters, unfortunately. But it wasn't always like that. So this text is encrypted. This conversation going on here is between two highly initiated Meccabulim. So over 90% of Jews and Rabbanan reading this text goes over their head. And I'll show you in a little while just how stupid and ignorant the vast majority of religious Jews are. Okay? So let's go very deep into the Aramaic text here. Okay? Going back to the text, we have this highly initiated Meccabel, Rab Yonatan, saying that anyone who thinks that Malchat Sheba is a mere mortal woman or a mere mortal queen is horrifically mistaken. Now he's being nice. Okay, I, being very harsh, will go as far as to tell you you're very stupid and you're very ignorant. In fact, you have no spirituality whatsoever. You have no spirituality whatsoever. You're absolutely spiritually clueless. That's the facts. Those are the facts. So, in beginning the Kabbalistic disquisition, they ask, okay, well, we know this is the truth, that this is the case. So then the question becomes, then who really is Malchat Sheba? So the question in the original Aramaic text that I have above is, my Malchat Sheba, which is Aramaic for who is the Queen of Sheba? The answer that is given in the original Aramaic text here, which is the last two Aramaic words you see up above, is Malchuta de Sheba. The answer that is given is Malchuta de Sheba. Do you recognize the word that was enunciated? The code word? The code word here is Malchutha. Now notice what a horrendous English translation is given for this passage, right? The answer is translated as the kingdom of Sheba. So they ask, what is the Queen of Sheba? And the reply is the kingdom of Sheba. Does that answer make any sense to you? Makes no sense whatsoever. This is why over 90% of Jews reading the text, it goes over their head and they're absolutely clueless. They don't know what they're reading. They don't understand what they're reading. Unless you have a master or a grandmaster like myself teaching you this, it's all going to go over your head. You will have no understanding. Makes no sense. You read the text, it doesn't make any sense. The question is, who is the Queen of Sheba? The answer that is given is the kingdom of Sheba. It's total nonsense. If you're initiated and you know the code words, you know the buzzwords, you know that you have the keys. If you have the keys, do you have the keys? I was given the keys to Hashemayim by Hamashiach Yisrael. I have the keys. Practically, the entire rest of Christians and Jews, they don't have the keys like I do. They were given to me, the chief magician of Mystery Babylon. This is why I am the chief magician of Mystery Babylon. Do you understand? Are all of you listening? Do you understand why I am who I am and why I am the chief magician of Mystery Babylon? I have the keys. Just like the keys were given to Kefa Shimon by Yeshua. So the answer is Malchuta de Sheba. Now you can legitimately translate this as the kingdom of Sheba, but the correct translation understanding, which is entirely mystical and Kabbalistic, is Malchuta de Sheba is Malchuta Sheba, meaning the answer is that she is Malchuta. That is, Malchuta is Sheba. Malchuta is Aramaic for Malchuth, the 10th emanation of the Sferoth. So what he's saying here is Queen Sheba is not a mere woman. Anyone who thinks this is just absolutely clueless and ignorant. So they ask, well, then if that's the case, then who is Queen Sheba? The answer, she is Malchutha. She is Malchuth. She is the holy goddess. Well, really, she's the goddess, the divine goddess. Not a correction. She's not the holy goddess. She is the divine goddess, quintessentially. So it's Malchutha is Sheba. But remember, I've already revealed to you that there are two Malchuthoth. One is holy, the other is evil. The question is, who does Queen Sheba come to represent? Is she the Qlippath or is she the Noga? So then this takes us to Eyob chapter 1 and verse 15. And let me just read to you the English translation. I believe this is from the KJV. It states, "And the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. Yeah, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and only I am escaped alone to tell thee." Now, we got all these ignorant Christians that are always praising the KJV. Oh, the KJV is so holy. Oh, the KJV is the best version of the Bible. No, the best version of the Bible is the original Hebrew Bible, as it was written thousands of years ago. Okay, if you can't read Hebrew, if you don't have an original Hebrew Bible, your Bible is meaningless and worthless. Well, not entirely, but for the most part. Okay, and all this praise of the KJV is worthless, because the KJV butchers and mistranslates tons of verses, and even then it's focusing on the literal level of the text. There are still 6 other levels that need to be translated and understood, and the KJV will only give you the first level, which is the literal level. And not only that, but many of the KJV's verses are butchered and mistranslated from the original Hebrew. Okay, to me the KJV is worthless. I don't care what English translation of the Bible you have that you want to praise so much. It's meaningless. It's worthless to a grandmaster like me. You want to go straight to the original Hebrew. Okay. So now let me reveal to you why this English translation, in fact, almost every English translation you read of this verse is going to be butchered and mistranslated. So we need to go into the original Hebrew. This is just another example of why it is so momentous and critical for the initiate and the adept to learn Hebrew and be fluent in Hebrew and Aramaic. Okay, so we're just going to begin with the first part of the verse. It says, "And the Sabians fell upon them." Who are the Sabians? Well, apparently the Sabians are this particular nation or race of people. Okay, let's go into the original Hebrew. The original Hebrew reads, "Watipol Sheba." Okay, it says Watipol Sheba. What does Watipol Sheba mean? Well, Watipol is Hebrew for "and she fell." Tipol is a feminine conjugation of the Hebrew verb nafal, which means to fall. Sheba, well, if you just happened to notice the Aramaic text at the top here, you know that Sheba is the name of Queen Sheba. The Hebrew word here, Sheba, is written the same exact way as the name of Queen Sheba. Is there a relationship here? Could there be a relationship? Well, I just told you the first word, watipol, is the feminine conjugation of the Hebrew verb nafal. So it then it's really saying, "And Sheba, she fell." She fell, who is Sheba. So Sheba here then is a feminine noun of some sort because of the conjugation. So now you should easily see what a gross, horrific, nasty translation this is. "And the Sabians fell upon them." The verse is not speaking about a nation of people. The conjugation of the verb is not in the plural. It doesn't say "and they fell," that is that Sheba, they fell. No, it's saying "and she fell." Sheba is a she, and she's falling. Okay? Now, if you're highly initiated, again, this video is strictly meant for holy initiates and holy adepts. A stupid goy, a stupid ignorant Christian would not get this, would not understand this. His intellectual faculties are too dimmed, too weak to be able to fully comprehend and apprehend these highly mystical divine levels. Okay, so now that we have this understanding in place, it should come as no surprise to you. It should not be extremely far-fetched to you for what follows, which is the Aramaic translation of this text. This is a very ancient divine translation of the Hebrew text. This is a very, very ancient divine Aramaic translation of the text. So the Aramaic Targum to Eyob, chapter 1, verse 15, and this is my own original lucid English translation of the underlying Aramaic. It states, "And Lillith, the queen of Zemargad, fell hard, and the daughters and young men died." So this is a very Kabbalistic translation. You have to understand that the Aramaic Targumim are very mystical, Kabbalistic translations of the underlying Hebrew text that was done by grandmasters thousands of years ago. Okay, so the facts are, the divine knowledge and facts are that this verse is actually, esoterically speaking, about Queen Sheba, the true Queen Sheba, who is none other than Lilith, who is the Qlippath of Shekhinah, of Malchuth. And she's also known as the Queen of Zamargad. And notice here her association with the death of daughters, really babies and young men. She's known for being the root ancient cause of babies' deaths and the deaths of little children, which is what the verses here is coming to tell you. So here's this, see, the root and source of all this esoteric occult knowledge and wisdom, its entire basis, root and source, is in our ancient divine texts, whether it's the Targumim, the Masoretic text, or even the esoteric Kabbalistic texts. You need to understand this, but you already do, because all of you listening are actual holy initiates and holy adepts, right? Everything is interconnected. By now, you should be able to see and understand this. Now, let me demonstrate to you just the vast ignorance and stupidity among modern religious Jews. Now, there's an Israeli organization called Azamra. It's a Kabbalistic organization, has many Kabbalistic texts translated in English online, lots of educational material on the Torah and on the Kabbalah on its website. So it's a Kabbalistic Israeli organization, right? And here they have, on their website, they have this banner saying, "Know your Bible. You should know your Bible." Okay, all right. And this is just a snippet I took from one of their pages on their website. They have a section dealing with Lilith and Queen Sheba. And then at the bottom here, you'll see they start talking about they start referencing Chakshri Baba Badra, folio 15b, and which I just discoursed on. And this is what they have to say. They say, however, Marhasha and many others explain that all the Talmud means here is that the Queen of Sheba was not merely the wife consort of a king of Sheba, but that she was actually a queen in her own right. And the classical rabbinic commentators relate to the story of her visit on the level of Peshat as a visit paid by one monarch to another. Well, that's the problem. That's the level of Peshat. That's the literal level. On the literal level, yeah, it's a visitation of one monarch to another. So their explanation, they don't even fully explain the verse that the Talmud. They know. There are some Jews that have an intellect high enough to know that passage in the Talmud doesn't make sense. And so you have that, and so as a result, you have all these uninitiated Rabbanan trying to explain it, and they do a horrific, nasty, atrocious job at explaining it because they're uninitiated, and some of them are just plain stupid, and others are just vastly ignorant on the matter. Again, this it breaks my heart. It makes me want to weep to see just this vast uninitiation, stupidity, spiritual blindness, and ignorance in all of these modern religious Jews that have existed for the past 1,500 years. Now, there's a great mystery here as to why Lilith is referred to as the Queen of Zamargad. Well, duly note that Zamargad is an Aramaic rendering of Smaragad, which comes from the Greek word for emerald. There's this also association of Emerald City because she is essentially the Queen of Emerald City. But wait a minute, where have you heard the term Emerald City before? Have you heard of the Wizard of Oz? Or how about those occultists who have deep knowledge of the Wizard of Oz and its relationship to MK Ultra methods and methods of Luciferian mind control? Or how about the Emerald Tablets and all the stupid retarded Goyim who are really pseudo-occultists, who have no idea whatsoever of what the actual Emerald Tablets are and what their true origin and source is. Everything is interconnected here, but the problem is just the vast stupidity, retardation, and ignorance, especially among all these wannabe and pseudo-goyim occultists. Do I need to name names? This is the mystery connected to the very Kabbalistic and mystical verse in the book of the Apocalypse, in chapter 4, verse 3, where it states, "And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne in sight like unto an emerald." So this is describing the brilliance of this divine entity on the throne. Its divine brilliance is likened unto emerald. Could this be the Qlippath of this divine being? Is it that the Qlippath of this divine being is emerald, pinpointing the location of the residence of his throne, which is none other than Emerald City? Or how about in Bereshit in chapter 2, verses 11 to 12, where it states, "The name of the first is Fison, that is it which compassed the whole land of Hawilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. There is crystal and emerald." Is that the true origin of the Emerald Tablets, which no Goyim knows about? You think all these Hermetic texts that speak about the Emerald Tablets, do you think these Hermetic texts know what the F they're talking about? Do any of these Hermetic texts reveal the true origin and source of the Emerald Tablets? You can say Hermes, but do you even know who Hermes is? I know who Hermes is. I know the true identity, origin, and source of Hermes. I can tell you for a fact that 100%, literally all of the occultists and Goyim, all these pseudo-stupid occultists and Goyim, they have no idea who the true Hermes is. They don't know who he is. They don't know what the Emerald Tablets are, let alone what's on the Emerald Tablets. I do. I know. Everything is interconnected here. Now, do you think I'm going to reveal to you all of this sacred knowledge and wisdom here that I'm just hinting at? No, I'm not going to. You think I'm just going to reveal everything to you? You think I'm just going to baby spoon feed you everything? Absolutely not. For every hand breath that I reveal, I conceal 1,000 hand breaths. The truly illuminated ones, who know the true concealed narrow path, will know and understand. Well, it looks like that concludes this very holy esoteric teaching. Shalom wa salah.